A little bit of feedback. Well, that will get everyone's attention, right? Good evening. I'd like to call to order this regularly scheduled Board of Education meeting. It is 5:30 p.m., December 10th, 2025. Ms. Stokely, please call the roll.
Ms. Coco?
Here.
Mr. Gomez?
Here.
Mr. Harris?
Here.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Here.
Ms. White?
Here.
Thank you. Item B is approval of the agenda. It is recommended that the Board of Education approves the agenda of the December 10th, 2025 Board of Education meeting. Action by the Board of Education in adoption of the consent agenda means that all items are adopted by one singular motion unless a member of the Board of Education, treasurer, or superintendent requests that any such item be removed from the consent agenda and voted upon separately.
So moved.
Second.
I would like to suggest one amendment to the agenda is to add a decision item under board business, allowing for the EPA and Cuyahoga Falls to access Schnee for testing.
I'll second.
Discussion? Okay, Ms. Stokely, please call the roll.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye. Item C is our
We
opening,
have to vote on the
The whole,
amended agenda.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
It is recommended that the Board of Education approves the amended agenda of the December 10th, 2025 Board of Education meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Stokely,
we already
please call the roll.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Item C is opening ceremony. This meeting is a meeting of the Cuyahoga Falls Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business. It is not a public community meeting, although there are opportunities for public participation. If an individual wishes to address the board regarding a topic found on the meeting agenda, the individual must complete a registration form found inside the attendance notebook and present it to the treasurer. Following the introduction of the topic by the board president, followed by board discussion, the individual will be recognized. If an individual wishes to address the board regarding a topic not found on the meeting agenda, he or she must notify the superintendent and/or board president of the topic no later than 3 days in advance of the meeting. These individuals may share their comments during the board business portion of the agenda. In both cases, the individual will preface comments by an announcement of his or her name and address and limit comments to 3 minutes. All statements should be directed to the board president. No person may address or question board members individually. An unabridged board agenda for this meeting can be found on your electronic device at the address shown on the screen, and for your convenience, hard copies of the board agenda may be found on the table by the sign-in book. The annual organizational meeting of the Cuyahoga Falls Board of Education is January 14th, 2026 at 5:15 p.m. in the Cuyahoga Falls High School Library.
That might change.
To be decided with the opening of our new 6 through 12 campus. And the next regularly scheduled meeting of the Cuyahoga Falls Board of Education will immediately follow the organizational meeting. And now for our Pledge of Allegiance and welcome, Mr. Gomez.
Please stand as you're able and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome. Our vision, Cuyahoga Falls City School District, the hub of our community, committed to a culture of caring. We innovate, we create, we personalize education for all. Our mission, every student, every day, every opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. Item D is presentations. I'd like to call up Ms. Allison Bogdan for the Staff Star Award.
Good evening, everybody. Congratulations to our top Tigers out there. Bet you're real excited. But before we start with that, I am here to recognize our December Staff Star Award recipient. And this month we have two people that we are going to recognize. One is a van driver, and one is the monitor. Unfortunately, the driver, Ms. Cairns, is ill this evening, will not be with us. But we are so excited to recognize the monitor, Kim Brillhart. Why don't you come up here, Kim? Kim was nominated by Price Elementary's Room 32, right, Ms. Wyckoff? Janelle Patchen took the lead in nominating her, but she's not able to make it this evening, so Ms. Wyckoff, the principal at Price, has agreed to come and speak on Janelle's behalf in the whole room, so.
Wait. We need to put you over here. Oh. Hold this, and then you have to go way up here so people can see you. You gotta smile the whole time.
I'm going to read the nomination that Ms. Patchen wrote, but these two ladies are extraordinary. They drive some of our most precious cargo every single day with the patience and love of saints. So I'm going to read what Janelle wrote. She said, the Van 36 team at Price Elementary is composed of two remarkable ladies, Amanda and Kim. These ladies work tirelessly to provide each and every student who rides their van daily love and kindness. They consistently greet students with a smile and a positive attitude, setting a welcoming and uplifting tone to start the school day every day. Their genuine kindness helps to create a sense of safety and belonging, making the commute a positive experience for all. And what truly sets them apart is their incredible capacity for empathy and compassion. They show this not only to the students, but also to their families, who they have made very strong connections with, and kind of provide a communication tool between us and some of our students and their families. By taking the time to understand and connect those they serve, they've built strong, trusting relationships that benefit our entire school community. They're a testament to how kindness, compassion, and a positive attitude can make a significant difference in the lives of our students every day.
Kim, do you want to say something? Ms. Brawl, you want to say something?
You do? Oh,
Yes.
I do kind of.
I'm nervous, but we just love these kids. I worked at Akron Children's Hospital for 17 years, and this is just such an honor, just to connect with the kids, because a lot of them are nonverbal and autistic, so it's a challenge. But when, like, Shreyan held my hand all the way to school one day, and that was like our first connection, and Evangeline is our talker, so I talk her ears off too, but it's just a joy. I'm just loving this job. I feel it's my niche and right where I should be. Thank you very much. That was very sweet.
Thank you, and congratulations again. Thank you for everything that you do for our district and our students. I'm going to now give the floor to Mr. Gomez as he is presenting the next award.
Our next award is our Friend of Education Award. Friend of Education is a board award, recognizes not a student and not a staff member, it recognizes a community member that's gone above and beyond in giving back to our school community. And tonight we're honored to recognize our outgoing board president and outgoing board member, Alicia Coco, with this award. So long before Alicia was on the board, she was committed to our school district. She was the Richardson PTA president, was the PTA at that time, and was just dedicated to our students because our PTA parents are some of the most selfless people because they could spend all of that time just on making opportunities happen for their families, but instead they spend all that time making opportunities happen for all of our families. And then when COVID hit, which I know we don't like to talk about, but when COVID hit, one of the big problems we were facing in our elementary schools was what to do during inside recess when we were trying to keep our students separated but still have something productive for them to do during that time. And Alicia reached out to the district with the idea that she coined Legos of Love. And she mobilized our community to gather new and used Legos, which she then sanitized, bagged, and distributed so that every single elementary school student in our district received their own personal bag of Legos that they could use during inside recess. This is all before she even ran for school board. And as a school board member, Alicia's always focused on keeping students at the core of our decision making. If you know Alicia, anytime it comes to a hard decision, the tears start to flow. Because she knows that hard decisions means that we're impacting our students, and that's very difficult for her. But it also shows her heart. And we know that even as she leaves the Board of Education, she'll continue to be involved and supporting these students because that's the kind of person she is. But one of the things that I think a lot of people in our community don't know is that not only is Alicia a wife and a mom, she's a mom to 4 kids. I don't think people realize that Alicia has 4 kids. And you give up a lot to be on the board, and I know she's really looking forward to having more time to spend with her family. We have a few other things for you tonight. We also want to give you this on behalf to recognize your service as a board member. And then, I know you appreciate stuff like that and you'll put it in your office, but I also know you well enough, and I know y'all appreciate this the most. I found this blanket that's actually a black tiger, as black tigers actually appear to be. I know you'll appreciate this warm black tiger blanket the most. And I know some of our other colleagues now want to speak as well.
A friend of education indeed. Ms. Coco and I, along with Ms. Schaefer, stepped into this role together about 4 years ago at 500 miles per hour, full speed ahead. It seemed like we had a lot on our plate. I gained a colleague then, but through our work together, as time went on, I ended up gaining a friend, and I think all of us did. If you don't know Ms. Coco, you don't know that burning compassion she has. That's been so well displayed in our school board meetings, whether it's for students, staff, families, or the community. It's that compassion that you wear so proudly that sets you apart. Your heart for this district, for our students, is a constant reminder, at least for me, of the humanity and the work that we do every day on this board. As Mr. Gomez said, your emotion, I mean, just what you bring, what you brought to this board, Alicia, it'll last, but it will be missed in everything we did here. I know you'll continue to be a voice, an advocate, a friend of education long after you are gone from here. And I've said this to you, and I'll say it to everyone here, this is not the last time we will be seeing and hearing from Ms. Alicia Coco in a leadership role here in Cuyahoga Falls. I hope we will be seeing you around in leadership roles going forward. So just thank you for being my friend. Just thank you for being a friend of education. Alicia, I really appreciate you.
I'm not as good at words as both of you. When Alicia and I were elected 4 years ago, we both thought we had a pretty good idea of what being on the board entailed. After all, we were both involved, parents, PTA, and some district-appointed committees. But the truth is, neither one of us knew exactly what we were getting ourselves into. And in many ways that we learned together, and AJ, we all kind of grew together as board members. I've noticed, I didn't know what you were going to say, and I didn't know what you were going to say, but I've noticed it being here. Alicia has always had a big heart. She has a special gift for making people feel seen and heard, and she speaks with so much honesty and emotion that her words seems to go from her heart straight to your heart.
And that's something rare and something that I've always admired from the start. Alicia, thank you for your 4 years of hard work, dedication, and courage. I've appreciated everything that you've done, but more importantly, our students and staff have felt the impact of the compassion the most, and you've made a difference, and I'm grateful to have served beside you. Thank you.
I didn't prepare anything, but
You're a teacher, you don't have to.
yeah. I didn't prepare anything, but this lady has just been wonderful. Her 4 years, dedication to the students, to our schools. As a Cuyahoga Falls graduate a very long time ago, I appreciate that so much, that she works so hard and diligently for our kids. She's not only a colleague, but a friend, and I will miss you very much.
Well, I didn't know all of that was going to happen this evening, but it's just like my fellow board members to surprise with things like this. Thank you all very much for your kind words. The 4 years, it's not very common for boards of education to have the same 5 elected officials for the entire 4 years. And we've been fortunate and blessed to have that the past 4 years together. And I'm so proud of everything that we've been able to accomplish together, and truly have gained more than colleagues, but friends throughout this. And I know that the 4 of you who are staying on the board, along with newly elected Mrs. Zimmerman, will continue the advocacy for our students. As Mr. Gomez stated, first of all, thank you for that blanket. I work from home and I get colds, and I will definitely be wrapped in that blanket, so thank you so much for that. As Mr. Gomez stated, if you had asked me 7 years ago, do you think that you're going to be on the Board of Education, I would have said, no, you're absolutely crazy, because that's not something that I aspired to at that time. I was I say just a mom, but you're never just a mom, but literally just a mom who was passionate about education. I always have been, with 4 children, and wanting to make a difference in our district and support our teachers and our staff and our students. And I'm a true believer that if you live with purpose and passion every single day, your purpose will find you, and that has been the case, and that is what led me to be on the board eventually. So I will continue to be a friend of education and advocate for our students in different ways. But thank you so much for this recognition tonight. It was very heartwarming, and thank you.
And now, for the true stars of tonight, are our top Tigers. I'd like to call Dr. Selico for our top Tiger recognition.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'll lighten it up a little bit, right, kids? That was pretty deep. That was pretty emotional. I'll make it a little lighter now. I know Miss Coco would be all right with that.
Yes,
but
100%.
crack some jokes along the way or something to make us all, you know. We have I'm going to save my remarks for Miss Coco for later, so, because I know our students are eager, and we'll get started with our Top Tiger Awards. So, how many of you have been through this before? Had a student, a child that has received Top Tiger? Anybody? Okay. All right. There's always a few in the room, I know. A little bashful to raise your hands. You should be proud. Raise them with pride. So the Top Tiger Award is given by our Board of Education to students from each building each month. And the students are chosen by various staff members who write a little description about each of the students, and then I get the opportunity to read about each one of those students. So I want all of you to pay very close attention, especially if you're going to be the first student coming up here this evening. But I'm going to give you several directions, okay? So when I say your name, students are going to come forward. Some of you are going to have to weasel your way through here. You're going to come up here, stand up in and then I'm going to have a helper. I don't know if I knew who the helper was this evening. Ms. Schaefer. Okay, Ms. Schaefer is going to help me distribute some goodies to all of you. All right, so you're going to stand here. I'm going to read about you. Everyone's going to get to see you with those great remarks. And then Ms. Stewart is going to take pictures, and you're going to go over there tonight again? Okay, so after that, you're going to come over here in front, get your picture with Ms. Stewart, and then you'll have a seat. And afterwards, we're going to head over to the cafeteria where we'll all get a group photo, and families, you can also have an opportunity to take some pictures then. I also want to recognize, you will get, let's see here, recognize Mrs. Carlisle, who's here this evening with the CFEA, and our students will go home with one of these. So these are great to display in your yard or window or wherever you would like to put that. So I love driving around the community and seeing where our top tigers live. Don't worry, I'm not stalking you, I'm just curious. All right, so, I don't go out of my way to do it, it's just in between schools, right? All right, so also with that, in addition to CFEA being so generous, we also have a number of generous community sponsors, including our Cuyahoga Falls Schools Foundation and Alumni Association, and they're here this evening to also speak with you, and we're just so grateful to them for really encouraging our students to be the best that they can be. So this evening, I think we have Chris Schrader and Kathy Moffitt, if you can come forward, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chris Schrader, and I'm proud to serve as a trustee of the Cuyahoga Falls Schools Foundation and Alumni Association. Kathy Moffitt, who's with me, is vice president of our association. She's also a former educator in the system, a former board member, and now serves as the foundation vice president. So she's ingrained into our community. It's wonderful. And I'm a graduate of Cuyahoga Falls High School from 1970. And my husband, who's here tonight, is a 35-year alumnus of being an educator here, and also he stayed with me for 50 years. So anyway, the Cuyahoga Falls Foundation is one of the sponsors of the Top Tiger Award. In addition to Top Tigers, each year the foundation awards over $150,000 in student scholarships, awards grants to teachers for innovative classroom projects, and helps connect alumni by assisting with class reunions and class websites. Each May, we also recognize 2 to 3 distinguished alumni and host a recognition program and reception. All of our top Tigers are invited to walk with us in the Memorial Day Parade, which you'll hear about later on in the spring. Tonight, after the top Tigers from all the schools have been recognized, we will head on over to the cafeteria. After your photo is taken, then you'll get a t-shirt from us and a folder for the parents, and then you'll get that great sign that Dr. Selico mentioned, and then you can just celebrate. On behalf of Cuyahoga Falls Schools Foundation and Alumni Association, we congratulate all of the top Tigers on earning this very special recognition. We are proud of each and every one of you and look forward to seeing you at the Memorial Day Parade. And for those of you in the middle school and high school, just 2 more weeks. That's awesome.
We would also like to thank Dietz Florist and Donato's Pizza and our Young's, I'm sorry, Young's, for sponsoring us with, and the board, with the goodies that your students are going to receive this evening. So enjoy, have a pizza on them, and we'll see you later. Also, folks, don't forget, the foundation is doing incredible work because we've got so many wonderful people in this community. And for a mere $25, you can join our organization and see every yearbook that has passed through the hands of Cuyahoga Falls students all over the years. So what a bargain. And not only that, you're helping out our seniors
who will be receiving scholarships, and our teachers who receive teacher grants. So come on in and join in the fun. Thank you.
I'm standing back here listening to the wind howl. Can anybody hear it where you're sitting? So you know what this means for a superintendent, right? Sleepless night again, last night and tonight. I think, I don't know about the timing of the weather. It's one of the most stressful things for superintendents. I know none of us love to hear it. I don't enjoy having to call school off and being up all night. You know, you sleep with one eye open. I get up and look out the window every few hours. So we'll see what happens tonight. I don't know. But I know it's kind of gross out. So not looking forward to driving home this evening. All right, well, let's get started. I think it was last month. Gosh, I'm losing track. We added our preschool students this year, and so we were able to see, maybe this is our second or third preschooler. So we're going to start with preschool and our first student. So let's see if we can follow those directions. I'm going to come forward, and I'll help you with the next steps, okay? So let's please welcome Bodie Goodson. Bodie.
Oh my gosh.
Good. All right, Bodie is an outstanding candidate for the Top Tiger Award because he exemplifies the very best qualities of a dedicated student and positive classmate. His approach to education is marked by exceptional hard work and genuine enthusiasm for learning, traits that allow him to excel academically. Furthermore, Bodie enriches the school environment daily by arriving with a constant smile and a wonderful sense of humor, effectively making the classroom a brighter and more engaging place for everyone. His positive attitude and consistent effort truly make him a student the school is proud and deserving of his special recognition. Right over there. Good job.
Good job, buddy.
Good job.
Heart melted.
All right. You did very well. All right. Our next school is DeWitt, and our first student is Aubrey Anderson. Aubrey is an outstanding fourth grader whose respectful and polite attitude shines every day. She consistently treats her classmates and teachers with kindness, and she is always willing to lend a helping hand whenever someone needs support. Aubrey brings a positive attitude to the classroom, approaching challenges with determination and a smile. Her strong work habits reflect her commitment to doing her best, and she completes assignments, working carefully and with 100% effort. Aubrey's character and effort make her an amazing role model for her peers. Way to show your Black Tiger pride. And our next student from DeWitt is Lucas Clayton.
There he comes.
Lucas is in on you got a good flip going there. You know what that means? You're coming up quickly. Good job. All right. All right, Lucas. Lucas embodies what it means to show Black Tiger pride every single day. He is a truly dedicated learner who always gives his best, completes his homework nightly, and actively contributes to our class discussions. Even when faced with challenging questions, he demonstrates incredible perseverance and responsibility for his own learning, knowing when to ask for help. Lucas brings a positive, can-do attitude to school. He is consistently kind, thoughtful, polite, and respectful. His positive demeanor and actions make him an absolute pleasure to have in the classroom, setting a high standard for everyone around him. Congratulations. All right, our next school is Lincoln, and our next student is Aria Broderick. showing Black Tiger pride. Aria always comes to school ready to learn and with a smile on her face. She is a true leader among her classmates, listening and following directions and making safe choices. She shows kindness to others by helping them when they need it. Outside of school, Aria takes voice lessons and is involved in dance classes. Aria strives to do her best each day, and we are thrilled to nominate her as our top Tiger. Congratulations. All right, our next student is Jensen Starcher. Jensen is a leader in the classroom and is a joy to teach. He demonstrates integrity and Black Tiger pride qualities every day at school. He comes to school prepared and ready to learn. Jensen always conducts himself in a kind, safe, respectful, and responsible manner. During the first quarter, he had perfect attendance and earned straight A's. Jensen is doing a great job improving his reading and writing skills every day. He is working well above grade level on our Success Maker math program and shows great aptitude in problem solving. Jensen also earned his way onto the after-school math club. And outside of school, he loves to play soccer. And with students like Jensen Starcher in our schools, the future of our community is bright. Moving along to Preston. Our first student is Kevin Curtis. Kevin, you can't see this. I could. Like, the people in the back are more excited. Just so you know. As I said your name, big, Miss Holman, big smile. All right. Kevin, you ready? All right. Kevin is an amazing Black Tiger leader. He works to be his best each and every day. He is kind and respectful to everyone and is ready to take over any time to teach the class. Kevin excels in math and is an absolute rock star. Principal Brown has enjoyed seeing Kevin grow up through his years at Preston into an amazing young man. Congratulations, Kevin. All right, our next student, I don't know if I'm going to say this right. Is it Avon Johnson? Avon? Not here?
No, there they come.
There we go.
Avon? So I was right. Okay, Avon. All right. Thank you. Avon is a very polite student who is always willing to help those around him. He volunteers in class and is always willing to participate in group activities. Avon always strives for excellence, asks thoughtful questions, and never gives up when learning gets tough. Avon shows kindness, respect, and integrity every day while giving his best effort in everything he does. Way to go, Avon. And we have a third student from Preston. I'm not sure, maybe from last time. Is Nicole here? Wanjiru? Okay. No? Okay. All right. Congratulations to her. All right. Our next school is Price. And our first student is Leo Royals. Leo is truly a standout student, embodying the values of a top Tiger each day. He approaches his work with dedication and consistently gives his best effort. Academically, he performs well and actively participates in class discussions and activities. He greets his teachers with a cheerful good morning and ends the day with a polite goodbye, always showing respect. He is truly deserving of being a top Tiger. Congratulations, Leo. And our next student from Price is Mayari Guest. student who truly embodies what it means to be a top Tiger. She consistently puts forth her very best effort in everything she does. She is an excellent reader and an amazing writer. Her classmates think highly of her not only because she excels academically, but also because she is always willing to help others and set a positive example. Mayari participates enthusiastically in class and demonstrates Black Tiger pride every day. She is a wonderful student and is truly deserving of this recognition. All right, moving along to Richardson. Our first student is Brandon Atkinson. All right, Brandon is a student who can always be expected to be making good decisions. He leads by example. He treats others with kindness and respect. He works hard in the classroom. He participates in class discussions and always makes great contributions. We are very proud of Brandon. Brandon's very chill this evening. Taking his time, taking it all in. Nothing wrong with that. All right, our next student from Richardson is Sophia Guvara? All right. All right, Sophia exemplifies everything a Black Tiger should be. She is respectful, responsible, and always practicing safety. She is a student who can always be expected to make good choices. She works hard in all of her classes. She treats everyone with kindness and respect and goes out of her way to make people smile. We are proud to award Sophia as a top Tiger. We're not done yet, buddy. I know. You are doing so well. Take off your coat, too. It's kind of warm in here. Maybe that'll wake you up a little. All right. Our first student from Silver Lake is Wyatt Whaley. Wyatt, hello, is a light in every classroom he enters. He is a role model for his peers when it comes to respect and kindness consistently. He takes responsibility for his education by advocating for himself, monitoring his grades, volunteering in class, and asking questions. He is always willing to help others in both academic and non-academic ways. Keep up the great work, Wyatt. All right, and our next student from Silver Lake is Violet Yasesko. We were cheering because I got your last name right? I saw you go like this. Thank you. See, I got it. Do people mispronounce it all the time? Yeah. All right. So Violet maintains a positive attitude consistently, despite any challenges she may face. She perseveres through academics while also helping others any chance she can along the way. She is kind to all of her peers and teachers through her actions and bubbly personality. I would agree with that. Congratulations, Violet. All right. Moving along to our middle school, our first student is Mason Coletta. You fooled me. I saw somebody getting up over there. I thought maybe that was you. All right. Mason is a dedicated and well-rounded young scholar who brings enthusiasm and determination to everything he does. As a hardworking and talented basketball player, he demonstrates teamwork, perseverance, and focus on and off the court. In the classroom, he is consistently respectful, attentive, and eager to learn, showing a level of maturity beyond his years. His intelligence shines through in his academic work, and he applies the same discipline to his role in the school band, where his commitment helps elevate the group's performance. Altogether, he is a thoughtful, motivated who sets a positive example for his peers. Good for you. Our second student from the middle school is Madeline Folk. Madeline? Go by Maddie, no. How did I know that? You know my name? Because it says it right there. Okay, all right. Maddie is an exceptional and dedicated student who arrives each day ready to give her best. She consistently demonstrates kindness and respect toward both her peers and teachers. She often goes out of her way to support others, and she actively contributes to the school community through her role as a student representative on the PBIS committee. Keep up the good work, Maddie. Good for you. All right, moving on to those big kids. Cuyahoga Falls High School. Dylan Good. Is Dylan here this evening? Dylan is one of our remarkable students at Cuyahoga Falls High School. Dylan started taking high school courses while at Bolick Middle School and will end his high school career earning college credits as being part of one of our 6 district compact programs, the Modern Communications Through Media Production program. Dylan maintains a 4.344 cumulative grade point average. While serving as the Tiger Band, I'm not done. While serving as the Tiger Band Vice President, there is a lot. He is also a varsity tennis player, a Boy Scout, 3-time, that's how you have the connection to Miss Schaefer, 3-time assistant, senior patrol leader, high honor roll recipient, and 2nd-year symphonic band member. In Dylan's free time, I don't know how you have any, he likes tennis, drumming, hanging out with friends, and playing Roblox. After graduation, Dylan plans to attend college for video production. And our final student of the evening is Carly Treesh. Okay, Carly is an exceptional student at Cuyahoga Falls High School. She started taking high school courses while at Roberts Middle School, great, and has continued her advanced studies by taking honors, advanced placement, and college credit plus classes while being a high school student. That's amazing. Carly carries, I didn't know it could go that high. No, I'm kidding, I knew that. A 3.975 cumulative grade point average. Yeah, you almost beat mine. No, I'm totally kidding. I wasn't anywhere near that. Okay, grade point average, which has earned her a place in the National Honor Society. In addition, she is an executive committee officer, member of the tennis team, and member of the Tiger Backers Club. During her free time, Carly likes to shop, me too, and spend time with family and friends. I thought that was going to say spend money. I'm like, yeah, me too. Upon graduation, Carly plans to attend college and pursue a career in nursing. Wow. Very impressive. So congratulations to all our students. And I think, well, one thing I want to mention, I want those staff members that are here this evening supporting your students, please raise your hand. I think you deserve a round of applause. Yes, Ms. Holman, Ms. Dare, we see you. Yep, thank you. All right. Yep. Ms. Holman is not only bashful, but she is retiring this year, so she probably, yeah, extra excited. All right. Parents, family members, thank you for all that you do. Each month I point out the adjectives that we hear this evening and the words that describe the students, and they're all similar, right? How many times do we hear the word respect and kindness and helping and supporting others, right? So that's a common thing among all of the students, a common trait, and so that doesn't just happen by chance. It happens by good parents and families supporting their students and children at home. So congratulations and a round of applause to all of you. And now we're done. All right, so we can go across the hall to get your pictures taken. Thank you so much.
Both of your board.
Oh, my.
next presentation. Item 4 is our wellness presentation with Mrs. Holly Hinkle. Thank you for being here tonight. You get applause too.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me back for our annual update on our success and wellness programming. Here's an overview of tonight's presentation. We'll start with some connections to our new strategic plan. We'll talk a little bit about MTSS and the structures that we're building specifically to Cuyahoga Falls. Is that better? We'll talk a little bit, there we go. About MTSS and the structures that we're building specifically for Cuyahoga Falls related to PBIS Plus. We'll dive a little bit into our panorama results, and then we'll end with our success and wellness programming update. This is required by the state, so that portion is something that we'll dive a little deeper into. I just want to note, typically I start with the panorama results and then tell you what we're going to do to address the panorama results. I switched things up this year and want to start with what we're doing, and then you'll get to see kind of the fruits of those systems and programming that we'll put in place. So we'll start with just the strategic plan. You all, hopefully by now, are aware we have a new strategic plan, and goal 1 is related to a culture of caring. I think a lot of what you're going to hear this evening really ties very nicely into this culture of caring. Our success and wellness programming, along with our school social workers and school counselors, really are looking at supporting the whole child and reducing those barriers that may be impacting a student's success in the classroom, and really trying to help build those skills so that they'll be successful not only when they're with us in the classroom, but outside of the classroom and when they leave us following graduation. The next goal I just wanted to highlight in some connections that we might not initially think about is our steering to academic achievement. I just really want to thank Mrs. Zeman and Mrs. Hausman for really for all of us working together to build MTSS, because we know that's really a key to improving our student achievement, and it's been a great collaboration between our 3 departments to build it together to make sure that we're seeing positive outcomes for student achievement. And I couldn't resist putting this recent study in here. I even included a copy of the article from Mrs. White. I will not read it to you. I will spare you of that. But it was a large-scale study of existing studies related to social-emotional learning and the impact on academics. And it really confirmed what we've been saying for years, that strong SEL instruction, explicit instruction for social-emotional learning results in positive academic outcomes. One of the things that was really interesting to me in this article, and I highlighted here on this slide, is this connection with math outcomes, because on the surface you would not think social-emotional learning would have any connection to math. But what they're finding is when kids can regulate themselves, when they can come to class ready to learn, when they have those executive functioning skills, it spills over into being able to learn those math concepts and learn reading. So really those connections we have said for years is really being supported through the research. These next 2 slides are information you have seen last year, but I know it's been a year since at least I've been up here, so I wanted just to kind of give a quick refresh. We know MTSS is really the umbrella for how we're supporting kids and the data that we're looking at. We no longer are looking at academics in a silo from behavior and social-emotional. They're really all together to make sure that we're addressing all those components that contribute to academic success and student success. These are just some nice visuals. I mentioned last year, again, Mrs. Zeman and Mrs. Hausman and I have been working to really build systems to support this framework in our district. So part of it is we're going to dive a little deeper, but I wanted to refresh. I talked about these last year, but again, as I start kind of diving into the weeds, I wanted just to kind of highlight these terms so that we're all on the same page when we're talking. As Cuyahoga Falls for PBIS Plus, we're calling that behavior, attendance, and social emotional learning. We know that looking just at behavior really doesn't give the full picture for the child, so we've added that plus so that we can really look at some of those other data points and interventions as well. We'll talk about our care teams, and just a reminder, those are multidisciplinary teams in each building. They meet twice a month, and we have a really nice structured agenda we've tweaked over the years, but it really looks at that PBIS Plus data on a regular basis and helps really drive interventions and supports for students. And then finally, just a reminder, with our PBIS Plus data days, we started those last year in our elementaries, and we've been lucky enough to continue them this year, so they'll be twice a year. We just finished our fall PBIS Plus data days, and really that's an opportunity to sit down with our teacher teams, to look at data, to talk about evidence-based interventions. And I have to give a shout out to our social work team who's here tonight. They took those meetings over this year and just did a phenomenal job with that leadership for the data days. At the secondary level, Mrs. Zeman and I have really been working to look at the PBIS Plus data and then also pulling in the academic, and we're using that to drive interventions for our early warning system. This is a relatively new image that ODEW, Ohio Department of Education and Workforce, put out this fall. And I'm not going to get too much in the weeds of it. There's a lot on this slide. But I wanted just to kind of introduce it, because the next slide is going to get into what we're doing as a district that really mirrors what Ohio Department of Education is saying districts should be doing. So this is sort of the model framework that looks at using an integrated approach. Previously, when I would present on this, or if you've seen Mrs. Zeman or Mrs. Hausman, usually it's a triangle, right? Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. Ohio's really moving away from that, and this is what they're asking districts to use, this integrated model. I really like it because there's that student learning components, and then there's the adult components too. So it's much more comprehensive, and it's not just data interventions at the tiers, it's really taking that holistic approach to MTSS. So you might ask, what does that look like in Cuyahoga Falls? I'd like to say, thanks to Mrs. Zeman, we're ahead of the game because we're doing a lot of what the state was asking. We didn't know that the state, at least I didn't know the state was gonna push that out, but when I saw it, I thought, oh my gosh, this is great, we're doing a lot of this already. So for the student learning components, our universal screening for PBIS Plus is our Panorama Attendance in Public School Works, which is our behavior data. We're then using that data and updating it regularly at our care teams. So those care teams and day-to-day team meetings, we're looking at that data to inform our decision making, and then using it to look at what interventions are needed at each tier. So really trying to build that strong Tier 1, but also implementing evidence-based Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions. And then finally, our care teams are progress monitoring. So they're, again, continuously looking at that data and coordinating with teacher teams to say, is the student making progress? And if not, how can we problem solve any barriers that may be contributing to their lack of progress? And then looking at adult implementation components, I think we've done a great job with that shared leadership. I mentioned the multidisciplinary care teams, and our social workers really taking the lead with data days, and our school counselors helping out as well. A piece of that is really, from my perspective, been exciting is building that professional capacity and really helping all staff, our teachers, our paras, understand what are some evidence-based interventions, and really helping them utilize the resources that we have available, from Rethink Ed to First 5 to Panorama. This fall for data days, we really focused on check-in, check-out, and helping staff really understand that as an evidence-based Tier 2 strategy. And then finally, our communication and collaboration, going back to those care teams and data days, it's like a built-in, consistent, intentional time for staff to collaborate. I think back to my time in the building, and it often felt so reactive, like I was just dealing with whatever was in front of me that day. And I love that we've been given the opportunity to have an intentional time to proactively talk about concerns and build in interventions and supports, rather than just waiting for them to happen. We're trying to prevent problems, and we're kind of moving upstream, taking that prevention approach.
I have a question. So
Sure.
I appreciate the idea of getting away from that triangle.
Yep.
But then specifically to the continuum of supports, so I feel like you kind of have to use it there. Because how do I know like what my tier 3 supports are if I have a student that obviously needs some type of supports?
Yep, you
So are we're kind of just using it in that area, but not as the whole? Okay.
Yep.
That my brain can understand that.
So it didn't go away completely, again,
It just is in that one specific area.
You got it.
Okay, that
Yep,
makes sense.
Absolutely. Are there any other questions before we move on to Panorama? All right, so this is just a refresh for anyone in the audience. Our students in grades 3 through 12 take a survey, depending on the grade level, either 28 or 30 questions. And it is based on our Ohio's social emotional learning standards, and each question falls into one of these 5 domains, again, that align with the learning standards. Students answer the questions on a 5-point Likert scale. So Panorama identifies if a student responds with a 4 or 5, that's considered responding favorably. So this slide represents the results for our 3rd through 5th graders. So the first column, you can see, says topics. Those are those 5 domains that I mentioned in the previous slide. The next kind of column there, it says percent favorable. Again, that's the number or percentage of students that answered either a 4 or 5 on those set of questions. And then finally, the last column tells us where our students compare related to same age peers across the country. So if we use self-management as an example, 74% of our students in grades 3 through 5 responded favorably, and that puts us in the 60th percentile across the country. So our students scored higher than 60% of same age peers across the country. So you can see emotional regulation continues to be our lowest. I shared this information in this format because this is what you all are used to seeing. I did create a new slide that I think is going to give us a better perspective of the growth that we've really seen over the last 4.5 years since we've been implementing Panorama, but I wanted just to start with this because you're used to seeing the data this way. Here are the results for our students in grades 6 through 12. Again, same format. We have our topics, then followed by our percent favorable, and how our students rate compared to same age peers across the country. This may come as a shock, but this is actually my favorite slide of my presentation. And the reason is, when I started giving this presentation 4-ish years ago, that last column was all red. There wasn't one column that was green. So here we come, fast forward 4.5 years later, and we're seeing a lot of green. That's not to say we don't still have work to do, certainly we do, but sometimes you don't always see that immediate results with this type of work. So it was, when I put out the results and saw all of that green, I even texted Mrs. House, and I'm like, you're not gonna believe this. So again, still work to do, but you know, we're trending in the right direction.
No, there's definitely, a lot of these numbers are way larger than they once were.
So this is the new slide that I mentioned a couple minutes ago. I'll kind of walk you through what data is on here. So this is the percent change since the last time the students took the survey, which would have been spring semester of last year. The first column is listed by school, and again, those 5 domains for the questions are up at the top. And the numbers are how much that school changed percentage-wise based on this survey compared to the spring survey. So if we look at DeWitt, for example, growth of 6 percentage points for self-management, a little decrease for social awareness, and 2 percentage points, a growth of 9 percentage points in emotional regulation, 2 for positive feelings, and 1 for challenging feelings, and so on for the rest of the buildings. I'd like to just highlight that middle column, emotional regulation. I don't know if you remember, but I stood up here last year and said we are going to stay laser focused on emotional regulation That is the foundation for all these other skills. If our kids cannot regulate and don't come to class regulated, they can't do any of these other skills, and they have a hard time learning. So we really embedded with our data days and with our school counselors and social workers, talking to our teachers about co-regulation and modeling regulation. We build our whole Rethink Ed scope and sequence around building those emotion regulation skills in our students. Our counselors use the panorama results to help build groups to enhance these skills in our students. And I think you can see from these results, we are seeing some benefits of all of that effort.
I also think it's important too, because I think emotional regulation, especially at the elementary level, if our students lack that skill, it's the skill that's most likely to lead to classroom disruptions. And that's, negatively impacting the learning. It's what gonna frustrate our educators, and it's also gonna be highly noticed by the other students.
So just moving to the next slide here, wanted to highlight 3 other areas that we've been kind of closely monitoring and trying to make sure that we put supports in place for. Early on when we started administering the survey, we were really upset that the lowest scoring question on the survey across the whole district, every time we administered it, was this question about feeling safe. So we've been closely monitoring it. So starting in spring 2023, I think that's the last time, the first time I started reporting this information to the board, we've grown 7 points for elementary and 10 points for secondary. So still have work to do for sure, but again, trending in the right direction. Labeling feelings is something we've been working very hard on. Our elementary school counselors have, they're just lesson after lesson trying to help build that emotional vocabulary. We dipped a little bit, so we'll have to circle back around and see if there's some tweaks we need to make there. But you can see for our secondary students we've had some nice growth there. And then we've been monitoring worry, just we know anxiety and worry is a concern across the country for adolescents and for our youth. And so just wanting to make sure that we're keeping a close eye on that as well. So elementary stayed the same, but we had a nice 10-point growth for our secondary students. For the sake of time, I'm not gonna dive into the cohort data, but I could not resist showing you at least the cohort data for our seniors. Because again, we know that sometimes we don't see immediate results in this work, but if you look at our seniors, the first time they took this survey in the fall of 2021, their growth certainly wasn't linear. We had some ups and downs, but if you look at where they're at fall of their senior year, we have seen some nice growth, and we're kind of headed in the right direction for sure. So all the rest of the cohort data is in there. Again, we're monitoring it as well, but I know you all like to review it. So if you have any questions, after you have a chance to look at it, I'd be happy to answer any questions related to that. So the last portion is what is required by the state. This is our annual report for success and wellness programming. And so part of what is required is to report on goals and anticipated outcomes. There's a lot of words on this screen. This is part of what we have to report to the state. But the long short is really, again, this programming ties very nicely to our strategic goals of a culture of caring, steering academic achievement, and then that financial piece. This is funding that we receive for the state specifically for programming like this, and so it ties into that facilitating our financial future goal as well. We're really using this funding to support personnel, to build that MTSS structure, in building those comprehensive interventions that are evidence-based and that we're using the data. So this slide says a lot of what I've already previously said, but wanted to summarize it in one slide as part of our annual reporting. In terms of anticipated outcomes, obviously we're a school. We are striving for improved academic performance, improving attendance, and graduation rates, and then certainly just overall student well-being. Here is how we propose to use our student wellness and success funding and our disadvantaged pupil impact aid. And know it's a lot of words, but that's what the funding is called from the state. So we propose to use it to help pay for our school counselors, our social workers, our attendance liaison, and partially for Panorama. So that money, and Christy could speak better to this than I, would not pay for all of these things, but it helps offset the cost for some of these items. And I should mention the state requires that at least 50% of this money be spent on mental health, and so we are meeting that requirement through the personnel we're helping to pay through this funding. We're also required to report on community partners. We know the district has a ton of community partners, but specific to this funding, we have to report on community partners that help support student wellness and success. So these are our primary partners in that domain. Red Oak Behavioral Health, we all know, is our embedded mental health provider, and they really help with those tier 3 mental health interventions for our students. Greenleaf Family Center provides a lot of our prevention programming, specifically related to SAVE-ZAC, so the suicide and violence prevention. They come in and provide that tier 1 instruction for our students. And then we partner with Summit ESC and Northeast Ohio ESC for consultation and support on a lot of this programming. I'll give you a quick example. We started last spring to work with Northeast Ohio ESC to refine our suicide assessment process. So they worked with us to go through our documentation, our protocols, and then we had a little committee that was working to improve them. They came down and provided PD professional development for us. So it's a nice example of how ESCs really support this work and provide consultation. It was all grant funded, so it didn't cost the district anything.
I just want to say about Red Oak, I've had multiple families reach out with gratitude because it's so hard to get a counselor or therapist for someone under the age 18 right now, and the waiting lists are insane, even at Children's Hospital, and it's nothing against those people. It's just there's not a lot.
Yep.
And so families really appreciate that service because not only can they get that service for their student who needs it through our school district, they don't have to worry about getting them to the appointment because they're seen during school. And they say that the communication between the therapist and the family is really great as well.
Wonderful. That's what we like to hear. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I know our families really, really appreciate it.
Wonderful. Thank you. Just 2 more slides. I wanted to end on some celebrations. I know we're going to officially recognize our buildings who received PBIS recognition from the state in January, but we're talking all things PBIS today, so I felt like I needed to at least mention we had 6 of our 9 buildings receive some kind of recognition from the state. So Lincoln received gold, DeWitt, Preston, and Richardson received silver, and Silver Lake and Bullock received bronze. So there's an application process, and you have to submit different evidence, and that's probably the wrong word, but different things that you've done in your building to achieve different levels. And because we had such a high percentage of our buildings that received some type of recognition, we were one of 67 districts in the entire state that received district recognition. So that was super exciting. And the last bullet point on the slide is this was a professional goal of mine, which was to have on our report card that we would be able to report that we had full implementation in all 9 of our buildings. So for the first time ever, I think, at least since I've been here, we were able to check yes on that, and that we're fully implementing PBIS. So that's super exciting. And then I added this last minute just because I couldn't resist. We had a Black Tiger Family Center meeting with our little committee yesterday, and we were talking through the numbers, and I knew the social work team would be here tonight, and I just felt like we'd be missing something if I just didn't highlight and thank everyone for their support of the Family Center. When we opened last September, I don't think any of us dreamed that we would be able to support so many families, and then our community would just be so generous and coming through with donations and grants and everything else. So just a few numbers and some pictures to show some of the things that we've been doing and the ways that the community has supported us. And a thanks to the social work team back there, because they're really the ones. They're really the ones doing the bulk of this work.
share about it, but they're the ones in the trenches doing the work. So that's all I have tonight. If there are any questions or.
When we were going through some of the different things that we're striving for our students to be, as part of the panorama survey, I was thinking about our portrait of a black tiger that we're working on. I was thinking how different we would be from some other districts if we included some of those phrases in there too. We want our students to be socially aware, emotionally regulated, so just throwing that out there for those that are gonna be in those sessions to think about. And then the other thing, we've been talking as a board, and Mrs. Schaefer, who's our wellness rep, she's gonna attend your quarterly meetings next year.
Oh, good.
So, because we wanna make that connection with the board as well, and especially as you make the transition over to Preston next year, so that we know of anything we can do to support you, to make sure just that we're fully aware of things we can do to be fully supportive of the family center as well. Because we have ideas, but we wanna make sure our ideas are being supportive of what you have planned. Yeah.
We have a meeting in April. You want me to invite you to that?
Please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you.
you so much. Brings us to item E, board business. It is recommended that the Board of Education approves the revised boundary lines as presented for the Cuyahoga Falls City School District, effective beginning the 2026-2027 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Open this up for discussion. Dr. Selick,
Sure.
can you get us, everyone up to speed
All right.
since our work session?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Coco. So what you see up here is scenario 3-3, and we've had so many different renditions, we were like, there's no really rhyme or reason how we coded this, we just started with Chris Shaw, who started at 3.2, and now we're at 3-3. So this is the one that we worked off of, just to refresh people's memories. The last meeting, November 20th, our work session, we had a scenario 3 in which we were kind of tinkering with and toying with and, revising. And when we left there that evening, the goal was to look at that and to see if it was something that was feasible for us in order to, for us to actually implement. And we did run into some roadblocks a little bit. We studied this for hours, various members of our team, and what you find is you just keep putting more and more sets of eyes on them, and people find things, which I really, really appreciate. But the reason, so what we did is we tweaked that scenario, and we ended up with scenario 3.3, which we feel confident in recommending to you, and I will tell you the reasons why. Some of the things that we really had to be mindful of was capacity. And the one thing that we learned, I mentioned this last time, and what the reservation was after when we were working on the last scenario was Silver Lake's capacity. So though the capacity limit by OFCC is about 313, I think, somewhere in that range, it really isn't a practical number for various reasons. One is just really the setup of the building, how education has evolved over time. There are not many classrooms at Silver Lake, certainly not enough to accommodate 313 students. So as a result, we wanted to be more comfortable and more realistic about Silver Lake's numbers, and in all the buildings, frankly. And what we're looking for is not just 1 year. We have to look down the road, because the last thing I want to do is recommend to this board. I would rather wait and get this right than recommend to you something hastily to get it done. And then in 2 years from now, a year from now, I'm saying to you, we don't have capacity at such and such a building because we put too many students there. We have to redraw the boundary lines. And I have seen that happen in my previous experiences, and that's not something we really want to have to do. So the pros to this model, things that we looked at, my goal is I've been saying pretty consistently is that I want to stay under 400 at elementary schools. One, just really, I don't want to tax our staff in that 400 is a high but manageable number, I think, for principals and staff to deal with and still be effective in what they're doing in the schools. I think once you get past 400, it gets difficult, and I would, in good conscience, if we get up to 450, something like that, I would not feel good about without having a assistant principal to offer support. And so, knowing the situation we're in financially, I'm trying to keep those number of administrators down, and as a result, 400 is a comfortable number. We see that we're teetering on it in Lincoln and DeWitt. We're close, but if we could stay within that number, plus or minus, 10, 20, we could still be okay. And then Silver Lake 231 is a comfortable number there. We feel that we definitely can manage that number. Price is also kind of maxed out there at 285. That's about as high as we want to go there. I should say too, I put this scenario out to our principals. It's tweaked a little bit since I sent it to all of you, but for the most part, every principal was able to give me some feedback as to the feasibility in their buildings, and they felt that they could handle not only the number of general education students you see, but our students with disabilities as well. As we talked about the last meeting, rooms, that requires a great deal of space, just for various reasons, sensory rooms, OT, PT, you need room to sufficiently service our students. And that was another problem we ran into Silver Lake. In that last scenario, they were going to see an increase of 61% in students with disabilities, which then put us to needing 2 or 3 more classrooms, and we just didn't have the space. So when we're closing Preston, I want to point out that there are close to maybe 30 students with disabilities that have to go to other schools. So that will, by nature, just increase the number of special education students with disabilities, students in each of the schools. But again, with that comes a need for space. So DeWitt and Lincoln, we know, are larger buildings. They have the capacity to take on more students. Richardson at 359 is, I know it's been higher than that. Sometimes it's been lower than that, and most recently in the last couple of years. But that's a number we probably don't want to exceed much more than that. So we're all, capacity-wise, limit-wise, we can say with confidence, every principal looked at it, we all looked at it, that we can support these numbers. We also looked at, and again, I just want to reiterate, we will not need an assistant principal in this model. That doesn't mean I don't have other ideas for supporting our principals, but for the main purpose and not adding, we stay in those confines. We also looked at the racial balance as well as the socioeconomic balancing of students. I had the demographics run, and I'm comfortable with all of the rates that I'm seeing. There's one that's a little bit elevated, but nothing. It's actually better than what we were in 2024 in terms of socioeconomics. It's more balanced with this new approach here, and so I feel pretty good about those numbers. And then also, this still allows us, the staff, to have, in most of not all the buildings, but some breathing room as it relates to space. So we really were trying to be protective of music rooms, art rooms. We didn't want to have to, there might be some sharing. Silver Lake's, that's always been close, and sharing happens there. But for the most part, we were able to preserve those spaces, and that's been our goal, to not have to cram people in or use cafeterias again. So in some instances, we've done that in the past. We're trying to avoid that. So it gives us a little bit of space, and every building has a tiny bit of room there, and some have a little buffer for a little bit of growth, but we're pretty comfortable in each of the schools. So that's, those are the reasons and how we arrived here. We certainly, played with the lines to get numbers to work, and this seemed to be where we landed with a pretty good recommendation for you.
Thank you, Dr. Sullivan. Board discussion? I'm trying to wait for somebody else to go first besides Mr. Gomez.
This was a lot
Yes.
of information, a couple times this week, so I really appreciate the work that was done here and the questions that were answered, and then the questions that were answered before I even asked the questions. Thank you, Mr. Gomez, for asking these questions. And I also appreciate you going to the principals and discussing how the buildings work, because the
principals that like live in the building, and the teachers that are living in the building, they understand how the buildings work, so it's not always just about how many students can physically fit in the building, it's how the building works with those students in the building. They've seen the fluctuation of how many students are there and how it's going to work, so I appreciate that, and I like to keep it like a neighborhood school, and I understand that it's just not gonna work out exactly the way that you would like to see it, because when these schools were placed in the district, when they were originally built, you know, there's been school closures since then. You know, we've closed Newberry, we've closed Grant School, we've closed, Bodie, yeah, well, I was naming elementary school, but like, so we've closed, so the district has reshaped many times, so it is very difficult to get a district that's shaped still to keep neighborhood schools and then still keep a good, you know, balance of number of students and keep your buildings workable. So I appreciate the working and the reworking of the route. So thank you very much. I know this has been beyond tedious, and thank you so much. So I don't have any more questions for what we have presented to us.
I mean, I'll add to, I appreciate all this information, and I appreciate all the work just across the board that has gone into this. I know it's just been a very tedious process, and I appreciate everyone putting up with us and getting us the answers that we needed. I made a note here, principal input. That's fantastic. I think that I'm glad that that happened, and we were able to get their 2 cents on that. But I have no questions, and I would be happy with this. So.
Thorough.
It's thorough. Yeah, it's thorough.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ms. White?
No, I'm good.
Mr. Gomez?
Yeah, a few things. So I just want to note that the revisions we made at the work session are preserved in this, and we made those revisions because large groups of people from both Price and DeWitt came to us and asked for those, and we thought it was important to listen to the community, but those are preserved in this. I just wanted to note that.
Thank you.
And so I just kind of want to walk through what changed in this.
That's a great idea.
So,
Thank you.
because Silver Lake had to decrease because of what Dr. Salakoch said. And so what had to change then is that we had to take from Silver Lake, and that's the piece that is in Silver Lake now, that is across the line there. So across Riverfront Park there, that piece is now at Lincoln. So that bumped into Lincoln, but because Lincoln was already at about 396, then Lincoln had to decrease space, and that's the space where it juts out from Richardson. That lower piece and then a little bit over from it had to then go into Richardson to keep Lincoln down. So I just kind of wanted to walk through and say that, and I don't know if people listening later will be able to follow any of that, so I apologize, but I just felt like it was important to kind of note what changed. And then with Price, like I've said before, and I know we all understand this, Price is at capacity right now, so we had to do something regardless with Price because that community is growing so much, and I think people have a visceral reaction when they look at the Price one because of how small it is. One, it's a smaller school, and two, that community is growing in student population that is attending our school. So we have to keep that one very small, or we're going to be back in the same situation very shortly. So I know that people have strong feelings about how small Price is on the map and the people that are getting moved from Price, but it has to be that small, or we're going to have to be back in the same position again with more people that are developing a connection to a school and then have to get cut out, and we're really trying to avoid that. We're trying to create maps that will continue to be feasible in the future, so we don't have to do this to another group of students in a few years. And that's the answer that Ms. Johnson gave to me about my question about, well, can't you just take all these people that we're moving around and then move them back? And we can, and I appreciate it, she gave me the honest answer. We can, but ultimately that doesn't give you workable maps in the future. And so I didn't like that answer, but it's still the right answer. It's still the right answer, and it's the right thing to do. So I appreciated that. And I just want to say to the community, we're hoping that this is our last conversation about revising the boundaries, but isn't the last conversation as a board we're going to have about the students and families who were impacted. We're going to continue to have conversations about how we help these students make these transitions and different ideas we have about them getting to know their new schools, because I think as a board we feel a strong responsibility for the decision we're making and the disruption that this will cause them, and then the work that we need to do to make sure that they learn their new school, not just at open house next year, but in the next 2 quarters of the year that we have a lot of opportunities to make sure that school students get an opportunity to go during a school day and get to see that school. So it won't be the last conversation we have as a board, because we want to make sure we do the work to make sure students can develop some comfort with whatever building they'll be at next year. And intra-district open enrollment applications will be accepted. How that ultimately works out is a whole nother puzzle that has to be solved, because it isn't just, it has to be 1-for-1 students of the same grade level, not just, I know somebody that asked to move from Lincoln to DeWitt and I want to go from DeWitt to Lincoln. They have to be at the same grade level to make it work.
Yeah, it's all based on numbers, and thank you for that one point. I was going to mention, like, the visiting of the schools and making sure, we were talking at cabinet, I was wondering if you had a bug in there, because we were mentioning that exact thing of how ways we could acclimate our students to the new schools in the spring, and I said to Ms. Hausman, I said, remind me of that again in March, but, yes, you're right, Mr. Gomez, we're gonna have to look at, how it shakes out in terms of the applicants, and then where we'll have openings, and you're right, it's very specific based on grade level. And I'm sure there are possibilities for intra-district. It's just, we just don't know how much until it starts to play itself out.
I'm sure that some kids will get back and families will get back to where they want. We just can't make any guarantees until the puzzle pieces get put out on the table and we see which fit in the puzzle and which don't. And I just noticed that.
Scenarios.
Yeah,
spelled,
I
I noticed it too. I was like, oh, typo.
Exactly.
When you type in all caps, it doesn't catch typos.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I saw it too. And then we will be putting these maps out, of course, with more detail. We'll, we already have them. I think Ryan has worked on them. There he is. And we have, so when I send these out to parents and families, you'll be able to see it to the street level really clearly, much more clearly.
Thank you. And I would like to add, like you said, Mr. Gomez, first of all, just thank you for all the work that everyone has done on this. I know that it's been a big undertaking and a lot of questions and revamping and time spent to make sure that we did have sustainable boundaries, which is the goal. And along with this, in mind with our families, and we were able to take in the community feedback that we had and make some suggestions to you as a board, and so I'm comfortable with where we are, knowing that this is something that's sustainable. And I also much appreciate that you included input from the principals and from the schools. So I guess my other question would be, when putting these out to the family, when would that be? And what information would you, I know that for the families, once they get this, that's going to be the opening of the door of, well, what about my student? What about, so is there a plan to kind of piggyback with that, we know you have questions, we can't answer them all right now, you know, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
We already have been, actually, Mr. Elders already sent me a draft of a letter of like kind of outlining like what next steps would be, and I'm like, okay, hold your horses just for a minute because we gotta get this approved, I went one step at a time. So once we get through this, we will have a plan that we'll communicate to folks, you know, how we can go about, what the time frame will be. Like, we're not gonna open up intro tomorrow, you know, we need some time to digest, to get settled, and then, you know, if we wanna consider moving our dates for intra, you know, when is it typically? Not April, April? April is
It's tax day.
but is it the same for intra?
April is in, tax day is for outside.
Yeah, open enrollment, but the month
March.
before. So we may wanna push that up, you know, because the other important fact for families that if they are going to participate in intra-district, I know many of them know this, but if they're new to it, they don't know that, you know, transportation is, unfortunately, our parents have to provide transportation to another school. So I'd like to, you know, if we can, give some advance notice on that too, but like you said, there's puzzle pieces, so it's gonna take us a while to sort through this. So I think if we get an earlier start rather than our normal start, perhaps we can make that happen. So, a lot to say, I think we'll be able to get this out, I would hope, certainly before the, break, even by the end of, probably early next week. I mean, these maps are online, if people, they're already there, if people wanna see them. So, I believe they're attached, are they attached to the agenda, anybody?
Yes.
Get attached? Yeah, so it's there, it's out for people to see then.
It's not on the website, it was shared in parents.
Right,
Because
right.
they're, yeah.
Well, not this one,
This
this
one
one was
was
not.
Cause it
3.2,
changed
so
that.
that was
The other
3.2,
ones have only been
Yeah.
shared via.
But this is on board docs.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if people wanna see it on our board docs, they certainly can. And then we'll put the more specific one real soon here, once we can get out some. At the very least, if we're not prepared to get every single detail, at least we'll get the maps out with some explanation that people, cause I know they're antsy and I appreciate that and wanna, you know, help their anxiety for those of the who are, I understand that.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Great, if there's nothing else, Ms. Stokely, please call the roll.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomes?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to the team and, Ms. Johnson, Margie, thank you. I know she's, we can give her a round of applause.
Yeah, this deserves a recognition.
We really appreciate all the effort you've put into it and the team. I know that I kinda joked, but I wasn't really joking, that I locked them in cabinet for hours until we came up with a solution. And so, I appreciate the principal's patience, I know that that's also a big deal. And I told them I intentionally left them out for a while because we had to get, this isn't something that we could have, you know, 50 people input internally. It was just, I needed them to be patient, and I appreciate them doing so. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. That brings us to item F, Treasurer CFO's Business Consent Agenda.
I'd like to recommend the Board of Education approve all items listed in the treasurer's consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
So we have the minutes from the two meetings, amended appropriations, and I don't know, Ryan, if you wanna speak a little bit more to this. It was because of, Fund 499, which handles all of our state funding. We received 2 Attorney General grants, so I needed to increase those. That's that. I don't know if you wanna expand on that.
Yeah, so we received 2 safety and security grants from the Attorney General's office. One is a per pupil funding amount of around $17,000, and another is a project-based funding amount of about $40,000. So we plan to use those funds for wearable panic badges in all of our buildings and some other initiatives. So those things are ongoing, forthcoming.
And then our donations is the only other thing. A number of them on there. Tis the season for some of them, but different ones there. Ms. White's on there. So thank you to those individuals and groups that donate.
Any questions?
I have a question for Mr. Hutch. When we say all buildings, does that include preschool?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
90% 97% positive,
Okay,
but I'm pretty sure we went all of them.
okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay, Ms. Stifler, please call the roll.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Moves to item G, Treasurer CFO's business. Ms. Stifler.
Thank you. I'd like to recommend the Board of Education approve the November 2025 investment schedule and monthly spending report.
So moved.
Second.
I move that we just start skipping over these sections. Okay, we will look at least during these months. We can look at the interest. We had a good month there. Our highest month so far, not obviously in the general fund, but overall, including our construction accounts there, which some of them are almost out, are almost about to be closed out, or LFIs, but are gonna be the only one kind of left standing. There, we can look let's look at general fund, I suppose. So again, these are our lower months as far as, revenue goes. Expenditures stay pretty steady. So we're down to, at the end of November, about a little under 3.5 million, which is about, the forecast in October, gotta remember when I did it now, had us with about 500,000, and that's probably going to be right on there, based on, we have one more kind of low month, and then depending on the timing of some payments in January, we'll start to see those advances again for sure in February. Sometimes they come at the end of January, but it'll be tight. We'll be okay cash flow wise, so I'm not concerned about that. But we are approaching that kind of lull, the same lull we're going to have at the end of June. Food service, just to point out, as I've said before, we're kind of keeping our eye on that, but they are also in a similar kind of boat. They are in arrears when we get those payments from the federal government, so we ended November a little under 100,000 to the negative. We will see what this December payment brings, how much that is against the expenses. So Bill and I are keeping an eye on that. I'm not totally concerned right now. After the holidays is when I'll probably dig in, and we received that December payment, and now that everything's kind of catching back up from the shutdown, there is still some lag things that are happening that we haven't gotten yet. So once that's caught up, we're gonna dig in there a little deeper and see there. There's also gonna be some shifting of things with the new campus, and some different things as far as salaries, benefits, those kinds of things. So we may see some savings there as well. And this is all wonderful news. So let's look at athletics, because it's good.
It's good news.
Yeah.
And it's really, there's nothing exciting, but it's good news. We brought in a whole, $20 in November, because there's nothing happening in November. But it's up from $8 last year, guys. So.
Did ticket prices go up?
That's right. So they're still sitting at a little bit above 30,000, but actually the ticket sales so far in the winter have been pretty good. I've been pleasantly surprised with some of those for basketball so far, which I know there's only probably been a handful that have been at home, but we've gotten some good ticket sales there. So.
Kenny said he's gonna try to get the December 30th game in before the December things close, because it's gonna be really good, and he wants it on the December report.
That's right.
what he said at athletic council.
Um,
Wants to end the year really good.
Right. So, just as a reminder, I have to do the forecast again in February, which is right around the corner. Yeah, it's going to be difficult because we're not gonna have a lot of concrete, things. I'm not a big fan of it moving to these August and February. Those are very difficult dates to, kind of forecast. Previously in May, not that it would impact us this year, but we'd have the results of, any potential levies by that point. PO deadline has passed. We have cut everybody off basically for the year as far as spending goes. By that time, kind of all lines up and we get a really good picture of where we're at. This is gonna be, more of what typically like a November forecast was before with a little bit more information. But we're not gonna have, what insurance is gonna be. We're not gonna have, things that are known quantities in May, we're not gonna have. So, and then we're not gonna have forecasts again until August, kind of once the year is over. So, we'll just kind of have to adjust and, that doesn't mean that, it's a working document all the time, so but officially it's going to be presented to you, in February and in August from now on, so, just there will be a little bit of a shift in kind of the way you look at those compared to previous, timing of those.
Thank you.
Now that we've opened the new building, can we get a report on how much is in the PI fund for the new building? And where would we get like regular reports on that from? Cause it's not in, well, I guess it would show up. Would it show up in the 5-year forecast?
It does not, no.
No, cause that one's
It does not.
specific.
It's the 034, yeah. So the only thing we, obviously see in that as far as revenue is the twice a year for
Yeah.
that. And right now, other than the expenses that are associated with distributing those funds, those are the only expenses that come out of that fund right now. I'm trying to think of in these reports, perhaps, let me look at that, yeah.
And see where it could go, but
again,
maybe we could just get like a total
Yeah.
of how much is in it would be helpful
Yes,
too.
yes, we can do that.
So we have a baseline.
Yep, yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nothing else? Ms. Stokely, please call the roll.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Brings us to item 2, Treasurer CFO's comments.
I just have a couple. One, the clock starts ticking today on those 4 bills that were sent to the governor. So he has 10 days, not including the weekend, correct? I think it's like.
Not including Sunday.
Sundays, that's right.
Right.
It was something weird like that, but it was that. So it's like the 22nd
Cause it's the Lord's Day.
or something like that, I believe is the day. And if he doesn't do anything, then they go, as far, I know there are pushes for some vetoes, whether it be overall or whether it be line item, things of those. So we're gonna stay tuned on that and see. I didn't hear anything today about it, so, I'm guessing it's still sitting there. But those obviously have the potential to impact us, and many, many, many districts across Ohio, which is unfortunate. And I don't know if anybody saw, or did you send that, but yes, you sent that, Mr. Huffman's,
Oh, yeah.
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 I got it.
so.
They've done everything to address property tax relief.
Yeah, it's all
You know that.
fixed,
Yeah.
guys.
It's all
But
fixed.
maybe they're not gonna pass any more bills.
It's all fixed.
It's all been taken care of.
So, we'll stay tuned on that, and I'll keep you updated with what OASBO sends me. Katie does a good job of breaking down, the details of that, Katie Johnson. And the only other thing I wanted to say was to thank Ms. Coco for her 4 years, especially being one of my bosses, one of Dr. Selico's bosses. We have
5, and so I always say we both came from different places that maybe didn't have the same dynamics as the 5 of you have had, or even with past board members, and it certainly makes our jobs a lot easier when that's happening, and there's not a lot of other stuff when people are truly here for the right reasons and trying to do what's best for the students of this district. It makes a huge difference. I don't think you necessarily realize how much of a difference it makes in just the well-being of people in our positions at times. And so I do really appreciate all your thoughtfulness and your attention to detail, and just your compassion that you've shown not only to myself personally, but to the students and to this community. And so I'm sad that you're leaving, and we will miss you.
I'll be
but I know
around.
you'll be around. I'm sure we have plenty of jobs. Maybe you can join the finance committee.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, there you go. As an at-large member there. So, but I also understand, children, and hopefully you get to spend a lot of time and enjoy your family. So.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm trying not to say too much right now because we have to get through this meeting. Thank you. That brings us to item H, Superintendent CEO's business. Dr. Selka.
Thank you. It's recommended that the board approve all items as listed in the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Yep, well, there's not much. So,
Can't imagine what you've been doing for the past couple weeks.
laying low. Not a whole lot of anything. Just really some routine items here in personnel. As you know, we opened up expanded our preschool program, and appreciate Nazima for being creative in her staffing. So we were able to relocate a teacher to that position. So that was good. We also have a retirement in Ms. Varga from Price in 2nd grade, so we wish her well and thank you for her service. We have some volunteer coaches there, some coaches for wrestling and basketball, just a couple to add their additions. And that really is it. Some transfers, routine items.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions or comments for Dr. Selka? Ms. Stokoe, please call the roll.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Mrs. White?
Aye.
That brings us to Superintendent CEO's business, Dr. Selka.
Thank you. Couple things worth mentioning. One, thank you, Ms. Merkel, and to the team for all that they've done. It's amazing work what we do in our district for our families, and I'm always humbled and grateful. I want to really mention Western Reserve, who literally just gave us thousands of dollars, and that was all from their staff that donated for our families, and we were just so grateful to them. We also have Ben Curtis providing gifts. I think that's this Saturday. We'll be at Preston for our families to come pick up those gifts. So looking forward to that, and also very grateful to them for helping our families through some holiday time and difficult times also as well. I will spare the ribbon cutting for all of you as comments, but I do want to take a moment to thank Christine and my staff and the board, everyone really, for just an absolutely amazing, very emotional and exciting day. We have the preschool is having an art museum exhibit. Unfortunately, we had a conflict of that evening, but they are going to have their families visit the art museum for their little art display, which I think will be really cute. They have a nice connection there with the art museum, and our preschool really has done a lot of outreach with various partners. It's really great to see. In terms of the big news, moving to the new building, we have had all of our students had an opportunity to tour the building. So in students grades 6 through 12, we're able to go and visit the building. I was there a couple of the days. Great to see the students and talk with them and see their reactions. So they've all had a chance to, I heard them walking through and pointing things out and walking their schedules and looking at where some of their classrooms will be. We also had the movers do the first move this week, so there are some empty rooms in Bullock. They've moved some things. Denny, Mr. Oswald took some pictures for me to see, and I was at Bullock today. So things are on the move. We also held the assemblies, and you may have seen my parent letter go out, I believe, last night? I don't know. Monday? So I had an opportunity to talk to all the students about the expectations for the new building and how they are expected to treat it with respect, and I don't doubt that the vast majority of them will, but in the event that someone makes a poor choice, I need them to be very clear about what those consequences will be. And as a result, also sent a letter home to the parents so they could, fully transparent what I spoke to about with their children. I'll say, just so the parents are informed and can know, I really don't want to put any one of our students or families in a position where they have to repair something that their child damaged, because it won't be cheap. And I told the students in all the assemblies, if my student came home with a bill, my child saying that I owed $1,000 or $500 or $300, it's not gonna be a pretty scene in my home. I'm not gonna be very happy about it. So I don't want that for them as well. So we were able to kind of set the stage there for what they, what our expectations are as they move to the new building, and obviously promoted the great opportunities that lie ahead of them. We want them to create lasting memories and have a building that they deserve, because they do deserve the best. So I'm happy that we can provide it. Happy holidays to everyone, because I can't believe it's already December and we're heading into the holiday season and half the year over. It blows my mind how time continues to fly by. We've accomplished a lot this first semester. I'm very proud of the work we've done. I'm grateful to my team and all the folks who have all the work we've done. We've passed a levy, we've opened a preschool, we've just now decided boundaries on a closure of a school, we opened up a new campus, we started a strategic plan, we're talking about a black portrait of a black tiger. We've been busy, so I can't do that alone, and just appreciative of everything that the team has provided for me and the support, and sometimes a sounding board. We've had some frustrating days lately, and just happy that we're getting past the hump in a lot of ways, so really great news. And lastly, I'll piggyback on what my colleague to my right here said about Ms. Coco, and everyone, I would just be redundant in all of the things. I concur with everything I heard this evening. I think what matters to me the most is your compassion and your caring for our students, that it's sincere. And I've been in this industry a long time. I've worked with a lot of boards, I've worked with a lot of folks, and I can honestly say that overall, this is the most caring board I've ever worked for. And genuinely, you put children first. And you have had to make some very tough decisions that people really haven't mentioned tonight, that, you've been faced with a lot. You come in as a first-year president and you had a lot on your plate. And I know that was not easy for you. I know in our personal conversations, struggling through some of those tough decisions, but I admire you for holding true on what you believed and what you thought was in the best interest of everyone. And I know, as Stoiko said, we'll all miss you. I know I speak, for my team as well, so thank you.
You weren't supposed to make me cry. I'm not done yet. Do it. Although that's not very hard for people to do, so. That brings us to item J, board business. With the amended agenda, item 1.
She's gonna hand it to you.
Oh, yes, okay, would you like me to explain?
Yes.
Okay,
Well, we
so-
gotta read it to make the
Yeah.
motion.
Yeah,
Right.
So let Alicia read
There
it.
you go.
Thank you. It is recommended that the Board of Education approves consent to access by authorized signature Ohio EPA and the City of Cuyahoga Falls, including their representatives and contractors, are hereby given consent to enter property owned by Board of Education Cuyahoga Falls City School District, located at 2222 Issaquah Street, parcels 0201387 and 0201389. By providing this consent, the authorized signatory does not waive or otherwise compromise the property owner's rights under federal, state, or local law, nor under common law, except for those rights waived in giving this assent. Do you want me to read the entire thing, or This is for the sampling of soil, groundwater, soil, gas, indoor air, surface water, or sediment, with site visits and Phase 1 property assessment activities.
So moved.
I'll second.
Discussion?
So just to chime in, and I think, Ms. Coco, read the consent form, and what, essentially, we met this morning with Rob from the city, and as we know that they have an interest in buying Shanae, and that's what, we were referring to in this consent. So I wanted to remind Rob that we haven't officially, they haven't officially purchased it yet. However, we know that that's in the works. So this is essentially us, the board, granting consent for them to have some testing done. They're applying for a grant to have all of these things remediated and assessed. And so they just need to, us to give consent for them to come onto our property. And we've given them some dates of, we'd like to do it while it's, no one's in session, but if, at the very least, maybe on a Friday when at least our preschoolers aren't there. But they said that we won't disrupt anything, but that they just need to get in. So I recommend that we give them that access. And we just got it today, and I'm sorry, that's why we're adding it on.
Any discussion or questions? Okay. All right, Ms. Stokely, please call the roll.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll need to sign this then.
Yes.
Brings us to item 2, CFHS Program of Studies, second read and adoption. It is recommended that the Board of Education approves the Program of Studies for the 2026-2027 school year at the Cuyahoga Falls High School.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? We had a presentation last week, last meeting, and everyone had time to present any questions.
I just thanks to Mrs. Dudones for making all the changes.
All right, Ms. Stokely, please call the roll.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Brings us to item 3, waiver agreement. It is recommended that the Board of Education approves the agreement between Dylan Bowe and the Cuyahoga Falls City School District.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Ms. Stokely, please call the roll.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Well,
Did you want me to?
Yeah, I wanted
Okay,
Dr. Salgo to talk about it.
And I know Mr. Bagatti handled this. So it's, we have a former student who wants to do some filming on our property. And so in order to do so, we consulted our, Mr. Bagatti did on behalf of the district, just checked in with our insurance carrier, and it is recommended that each person who participates in this and who will be on site will have to sign a waiver, just for protections.
And the name on the waiver agreement is,
But Dylan's the student that is working with the district, and they're all signing the waiver now,
okay.
because the insurance said everybody
Yeah,
has
they
to
do,
sign
yeah.
it.
Makes sense.
I had inquired about that.
Got it.
Any more discussion? Okay, Ms. Stokely, please call the roll.
Ms. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Item 5 is President Pro Tempore. It is recommended that the Board of
We skipped service agreement.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's because I had in my head. There we go. Item 4 is Service Agreement, Ohio School Boards Association. It's recommended that the Board of Education approves the agreement between the Ohio School Boards Association and the Cuyahoga Falls City School District.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
This is our annual policy service with them, but they are changing who hosts it. There's this company that works with the Georgia School Board Association, and they were at Capitol Conference, and they're supposed to be better. But the real issue is the ADA requirements you have to make, and so this company will be fully ADA compliant under the federal law for websites.
And one once this is switched, then I already discussed making sure that our website is updated as well, so that all of our policies are accessible. Ms. Stokoe, please call the roll.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
That brings us to item 5, President Pro Tempore. It is recommended that the Board of Education elects as President Pro Tempore to preside over the organizational meeting to be held on Wednesday, January 14th, 2026.
So moved.
Second. You can make a nomination now.
Someone would like to make a nomination. This is for someone to preside as President Pro Tempore, as I will no longer be presiding as president until the next president is sworn in.
Recommend Mr. Gomez.
I'll accept.
Any other nominations? Just read it again for me.
Yeah. You just take a vote.
Okay. Ms. Stokoe, please call the roll.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Item 6 is the discussion items for the draft of Board of Education meeting dates. I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Gomez
Yeah.
for next year.
So, two people reached out because they have since scheduled vacations that conflict with dates on here. I think one is the June 10th meeting. Is that right? June 17th. June 17th meeting. Could we just move that to the 24th? Does that solve that one?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Just let me know.
You make a note, Dr.
Put it on my
Shalika?
calendar.
Thank you. That one was easy to fix. Okay. And then the other one is August 12th.
Do we already have one on the 19th?
Well, we have one on July 29th.
Mm-hmm.
If we had one on August 5th, would we need one on July 29th, Dr. Selka?
So it's the hiring season, right?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
We had plopped one on July 29th.
I'm sorry, when are the July ones? It's hard for me to say, I can't see
8th
that.
and 29th.
8th and the 29th, and you're suggesting,
August 12th, we have somebody that has a
okay.
out-of-town vacation. So if we did August, we could do August 5th. Would you still need July 29th? I don't want to make things difficult for hiring. I don't know all the rules for
The
that.
12th is probably a nice date because that's right in the middle, but if we had to, I had to push it either way. We're already starting by the 19th, so if we were gonna push it, we could push it up to the 5th.
To the 5th. So just, we could get rid of the 29th for now and do August 5th. So get rid of the 12th and then make July 29th August 5th.
So July 29th becomes August 5th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so July 29th is,
And-
August 12th is removed.
Yeah.
August 12th is
You'll
gone.
call us in July for some reason anyway. We know.
Probably, yes.
We know.
Probably.
We've been around long enough.
Yeah.
But we just won't schedule one. It'll
Yeah,
be
that's
subject to call.
Okay, so
Okay.
July 29th
That's fine.
becomes August 5th.
And then we'll
August
take out
12th.
August 12th.
It's gone, right.
Okay.
And there's no top tiger in August, so it's
Yeah,
not as
that's-
difficult.
yeah.
We're taking out the 12?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then what's the next one in August, the
26th.
Yeah, I mean, we just need to know that there might be some hiring that might have to happen without,
Well, you have
the
that,
school year will
you have
start.
that authority anyway, so.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
Okay,
that's fine.
we'll make that work.
Got it. Okay.
Cause the notification is July 15th, right? Or July 10th?
July 10th.
10th, so that's why we have a July 8th, okay. Does that work for, okay. I wanna make sure our HR person was okay with it too, okay. Everybody good with that? Okay,
Thank you. Okay,
that's all we needed.
that's it? All right.
Problems are solved.
Sounds good.
Okay.
That brings us to item 7, future agenda items. I'm also going to turn this over to Mr. Gomez.
we, in January, at some point, we're gonna honor our, I don't know which meeting, but we're gonna honor our, PBIS buildings, as well as we're gonna honor our first team and, district, regional, and state recognition athletes in January from the fall season. So we have those coming up. And then I think in January, I don't know at which meeting, we're gonna start the conversation about levy. What type, which one, how much, all that. So we're gonna start that in January as well.
So the second meeting in January, we have the PBIS recognition, the schools we saw this evening, athletic recognition that you just mentioned, staff, the normal ones, and then a strategic plan presentation, but I could also move that if we need to, if that's too much. It won't be that long.
Were you doing that, or did that not get taken off after you did the other one?
Well, yeah, I mean, again, I know, I put it on here as a placeholder if you wanted it, but if you felt that we're
Maybe-
moving in the right direction, we can delay this.
Maybe you wanna
another
give an
one.
update on how the, does that January start the portrait, so maybe you wanna just change that to that?
Yeah, if I move it, it probably is, was that January 28th? Yeah, that could work.
But maybe on January 14th, we could start talking about the finances and the levy. Cause I think the plan is just to hit it, start in January, why not?
I'm not sure of my availability on the 28th, so that works. That may be senior night for my daughter.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, so we'll do that on the 14th. And then, I think like we said, we're still waiting to see, as folks get settled, where we might be meeting in the new building. I think that high school collaborative space might still work.
Yeah,
I'm
so
lobbying, I'm
yeah,
continuing to
we
lobby
talked about
for it.
I think Mr. Smith and us, we were talking about how like there's movement throughout the building, there's still kids in the building, so I worry about, noise and things like that. I know that I think, I heard us say this, that we might be able to consider the auditorium, but it's not available until, we get the parking and all of that, but we were talking about it, we thought it would make a really nice, venue, especially for like Top Tiger, kids could be on the stage and like it would, but the problem is, as we know, during the season, of performances, that could be a problem. So we've discussed and looked, and it's as beautiful and great as a facility it is, I don't know it's something that's conducive to our board meetings. We've been trying.
Well, we're not gonna meet here, cause this is closing, so. We're gonna make it work one way or another.
Yeah, no, we will, and when we have
If I have
like
to
a
meet
small
you there
group like
on a-
this, it's easy.
If I have to meet you there on an
Yeah.
evening, we can move
Just the
some
top-
tables and visualize,
tigers.
we'll make it
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, you all saw the space now, so I'm happy to entertain suggestions.
Just let me know where.
I think
You
we
will.
can make
I'll end up
something
coming
work,
here.
I'm not super
Yeah.
stressed about it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Anything else we're missing for right now? Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Did we
Herbie.
take strategic plan off, or we kept it on?
I replaced it with Portrait of a Black Tiger.
Okay, thank you.
That brings us to item 8, committee reports. I know that not very many have met since our last meeting. We have Athletic and Activity Council, Mr. Gomez.
Yeah, so, we did our fall sports recap. One of the things Mr. Johnson wanted to know is, as we all know, it's our last year in the Suburban League, moving over to Metro next year. So as he went through the fall sports recap, he talked about where we were finished this year and where he expects us to finish next year in Metro. Football, we expect to be very competitive in the Metro League. Volleyball, girls volleyball will be very competitive as well. And then girls tennis, we're probably a favorite to win the Metro League next year. So
good.
it's just again is a very good decision, and we're excited for that. It's a long time coming. We had to wait to change leagues, but it'll be good news when we get there. He talked about the arch at the stadium. That's been coming up. If you've driven by, it's weather dependent. As we know, the weather has not been cooperative. Some things they've purchased for the new stadium, the ticket booths, as you know, the track covers, he said those were a great purchase. They've prevented a lot of wear and tear. one thing they noticed almost immediately is during day games, the heat that was coming off the track as the players were sitting there was really excessive. So they purchased pop-up tents to try to help the players with that. The bleachers for the marching band were very well received, and they got 80 new hurdles, and that just got delivered the day of the turkey trot, actually.
Hurdles are so much higher in person when you stand in front
Yeah,
of
they
them.
they are. I know, there's no way.
Sorry, I just.
No, you're fine.
I can go under, but I can't go under. Really?
Get higher in college.
They started doing video streaming during the games.
Oh, that's cool.
The signage that you see all around, and then they just got a brand new state-of-the-art timing system for track that they're really excited about. And Coach Scorefield tried it out, and he didn't want to stop. And then Athletic Boosters purchased the food trailer, and the boosters want to know that they didn't lose any money all year, even with the transition. They continue to make $6,000 to $7,000 per game, which is their normal budget amount. So they're happy about that. Some of the problems they're trying to address is where to place the senior banners. The traditional area we placed them was very visible. We don't have just one area to put them in, so they're working on solutions to that. They would like to have a fence around the practice field area just because it abuts that busy street there. So we talked about some possible solutions for that and avenues for funding. And then just a small stone or cement walkway from the shot and discus rings, and I think Dr. Salko and I told them to go forward with that. It's going to be pretty cheap. And then one other thing was they want to outside storage near the practice fields. And then our concern was not that they have it, but just making sure the aesthetics continue to complement the new facility. Winter sports are well underway, and we have very large turnouts for our winter sports. Most schools don't have JV, even in the suburban league. But for girls basketball, we have JV and varsity. For boys basketball, we have freshman, JV, and varsity. For bowling, we have boys varsity and girls JV and varsity. And in wrestling, for the first time ever, we have filled every weight class in both boys and girls.
Oh, that's awesome.
And are extremely competitive.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And swimming and diving, we have huge teams for both boys and girls.
Cool.
And then our cheerleaders cheer for the boys basketball team.
Yeah.
And if you know anything about Coach Parker, it's very competitive.
Mr.
Yes.
Gomez, is the girls wrestling team finding it that they're having competition, like teams to compete against? Is that,
Yeah, they just competed this weekend.
they did?
Yeah, they have separate tournaments.
And they're having enough competition now?
They had a separate tournament.
Nice.
And then the first basketball game at the new high school is this Friday, December 12th, and it was kind of intentional because both boys and girls play.
Oh,
So it's a double header. So it's neither, it's not the boys or the girls getting to play first. They both get to play on Friday. So that's this Friday at the new high school. The first game in the new middle school gym for middle school basketball is set for January 6th. And wrestling will have their senior night on February 11th for both boys and girls in the new facility. They've asked to continue using this one for now, but they want to do their senior night in the new facility. And we talked a lot about the Doug Dix tournament. I used some of my experience as a youth wrestler, and we talked about different ways that we can do the Doug Dix tournament in our new facility, utilizing all three gyms. Girls tennis had the highest GPA of all of our fall sports with a team GPA of 3.94, but all team GPAs for fall sports were well above 3.0. So we're just extremely proud of our student athletes taking the student part seriously. And then we'll honor those with awards at our January meeting.
A little additional, if anyone's looking to go to a girls' basketball game, my daughters will be here Monday the 22nd playing.
Oh, boy.
I'll be there.
At the new school.
Well, we'll excuse you for cheering for your daughters.
Exactly.
Okay.
but, you know,
She'll cheer the both sides.
I know.
And
Kids come
and
first,
our
not
old
they
gym is
just-
still nicer than your new gym. And our new gym's gonna blow yours away.
Oh.
Do you want me to, do you need me to pound a gavel?
She knows, I've told her all this before.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. Financial Advisory Committee met, Ms. Stokely went over the 5-year forecast. I was not able to attend that morning. Do you have anything to add other than going over the 5-year forecast?
No, we talked about that, and we just talked about some of the upcoming things, you know, involved with the forecast, the sale of the properties, the move to the new building, kind of just, you know, the auditors were in, those kinds of things. So kind of those big ticket things that impacted the forecast. We kind of talked about where we were at with some of those.
Thank you. And then Foundation and Alumni Association met last night. I guess the big news out of that is they are ready to open up their scholarships for the students to start applying. And we have over 60 this year, and 5 of those are for certifications in trade. So those will be, they're working with Mr. Smith to get those together and get those open for the students so they can start applying. Legislative liaison, Mr. Harris.
I have nothing to add to Ms. Stoikoy's update. She did a very good job.
Thank you very much. That brings us to item 9, comments. Mr. Harris, you're up first.
Yes, just congratulations again to our top Tigers, our Staff Star awardees, and our Friend of Education. Ms. Stewart, fantastic job, everyone involved in Saturday's ribbon cutting. It was spectacular. The love, the energy in that building was just awesome. It was just a reminder of, you know, one of the reasons, you know, that's why we built the school, you know, for students to come and learn and for the community to share in celebrations there as well. So it was just an amazing moment, and I'm not going to talk. I know everyone wants to talk about this, but for me, the emotional piece, Ms. Stewart she commented on my Facebook about this too, was, you know, having my son involved and having Theodore up there with me, trying to hold back my emotion in that process. Having not even graduated from Cuyahoga Falls High School, but knowing that he will one day, and seeing my name on that plaque, and him going to be, you know, him walking through those doors and seeing his dad's name there, and seeing, you know, all the work that went into it. It was really emotional for me, and one of the most exciting moments of my life, I will say. So, just an awesome job to everybody. I want to mention as well, just give a shout out to the community. I know Ms. Merkel mentioned it this evening, but difficult time for everybody. Just everything donated by the community to help our neighbors. Just thank you, thank you, thank you. And Dr. Seller, I think you had texted us the 6,700 items donated in 6 months. That is incredible. 6,700 items donated in 6 months. So just a pat on the back to our community. And Ms. Coco, I won't add to what I said. Just thank you for everything, and I appreciate your friendship. I appreciate everything you've done here on your time on the board, and I know that your legacy, and it's going to last. It will last. So, just a happy holidays to everybody. I hope everyone has a safe and happy holiday season, and we got a lot of stuff coming up, so I'm sure I'll see you guys around. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Mrs. Schaefer?
I don't have much to say except for, wow, that was such a good time at the ribbon cutting. The few days leading up to the ribbon cutting, that's kind of all I was thinking about, and I wasn't even like really planning it. So, I know, right? Right. You know, and I would, my husband and my son came, and my son came really because he had to. He's like, okay, it's important to you, Mom. But they both, when they got there, they were actually a little bit excited to be there. And I was just a little bit surprised that the 18-year-old was excited to be in the new building and and he wanted to walk around and look at everything and how neat it was and all the new things. And he was a little bit jealous that he does not get to go there. And what you said, the energy of everyone that was in the building was just, it was such a positive vibe. I mean, I don't know how else to say, how else, it was exciting, and I know maybe some people might have been a little bit stressed about how things were going, but like, everything seemed to just go so well, and everyone was happy, and things were just, I had such a great time. My scissors didn't cut the ribbon.
Oh.
Because the person next to me had really big scissors and cut.
Uh-oh.
I had another big pair that were
Oh, my.
tub that you should have signaled to me.
But I get to have a piece, I kept a piece of ribbon to keep with my dirt. So, haven't decided how I'm gonna display them, but, yeah, great time, and I still, getting people commenting on how exciting the whole experience was, so I'm still thinking about it, so, yeah, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mrs. Schaefer. Ms. White?
Well, at the last core meeting, because you skipped my report, so.
Oh.
No, it's okay. I'm just kidding. I'm teasing you. It was mainly the punch
How
list
about this? I just won't be president
Clean.
anymore.
of cleaning and going over the building and stuff like that. But, it's been a long time. I remember starting this journey with Dr. Holland back in 2005 and being part of just the planning and so on, and just, and you step in and it's just so beautiful. And you're just awestruck by, the community and how much they put into that, and we needed it. But I am so glad for our community and their support. It's just a beautiful building, and my grandson was there. It'll be 4 generations in 27 for my family that have graduated from Falls High. So, it's amazing. It's something so special I've worked hard for. I think we all have, really, and not just me, but we all have. And I just want to thank the community. Just wonderful. And it's for the students. It really is for them and the future students. So, it's just, I don't know what to do now. What am I going to do? I don't know.
There's plenty
It's
to do.
done. It's, it's so beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. White. Mr. Gomez?
When we walked in on Friday night, Ms. White and I walked in together, and the moment that made me cry the first time was when Ms. White stopped at the plaque and rubbed her fingers over her name, and it just really touched me. It really got me. So that was really special for me. But just to get to share that with our community for the first time and to see them as they walk in, because I was just thinking to myself, for all of us, as excited as we are, and we are still, I know we're all still very excited, it's also like our work product. Like, we've been living this for a really long time. We've walked it a few times. People are like, do you get lost? I'm like, not really. Like, I've been in this enough. I haven't gotten lost yet. I've been in it enough times that I kind of got it down. I know Dr. Salko gets lost, but I haven't gotten lost yet. I kind of understand how it all flows. But, like, we've lived it. It's like, this is, like, the community. They're like, this is their, like, oh, my gosh. And just standing there as people walked in and, like, their eyes looking up and around was really an incredible moment. And no surprise to anyone, Mrs. Schaefer and I were some of the last people out of the building who stayed the whole time. And we estimate that there were over 2,000 people in there throughout the whole day. Well over 2,000 people. Because we ran out of maps at 11:45, and there were 800 of those. And people kept coming, trying to get into the building, up to and including when we walked out of the building together with Dr. Salko at 1:45. So it was really astounding and amazing, and just everyone came in their black and gold. It was a really beautiful moment, and it came from the community because of their work, and then it came to us to do because of their votes, and then it came to us to do the work, and then it felt like we were then turning it back over to the community, and it was just a really beautiful moment.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. Yes, just to reiterate, the 6 through 12 campus opening and the ribbon cutting, again, Ms. Stewart, amazing. amazing job, and just thank you to our community, because they're the ones that made this possible. And,
Yeah.
you know, and thank you to your entire team, all the work leading up to this is, and I know there's still a lot of work when the students get in the building and a lot to do between now and then, but, thank you for everything. It was just a really special, great day.
Sure
And
was.
like Mrs. Schaefer said, the days leading up to it, that's all you can think about. And I actually told my almost 20-year-old daughter the day afterwards, I said, is this how you felt the day after your Taylor Swift concert? Like, you didn't know what to do with yourself, and you just sat there, and she goes, yeah, pretty much. Probably was about the same feeling for you. So, yeah, absolutely wonderful day. As this is my last meeting, I did not prepare anything long. I just want to address each one of you individually. And I was thinking, how can I do this without crying? And I don't know that I can, but I'm gonna try. And as all of you know, you all mentioned my kindness and compassion. None of you mentioned my sense of humor, which is also a big part of who I am. So I'm going to address you as who's most likely to do different things as you continue on the board. So, Mr. Harris, first of all, you are most likely to continue to advocate for this district on the legislative side and continue to educate everyone. You're also the one that is most likely to have on crazy socks and most likely to have a podcast someday.
All
That is
right.
my prediction.
I like that. Thank you, Ms. Gomez.
Thank you for the past 4 years together.
He has a
Mrs.
voice
Schaefer.
for radio and a
I
face
know,
for TV.
I know. It's a
Thank you. There we go.
double threat.
Normally says the opposite.
Nobody knows what radio is anymore, so I didn't say, I was gonna say that. Mrs. Schaefer, you are the one who is most likely to continue to give the most thoughtful suggestions and feedback and ask the right questions. You truly care about this district and have a gift for just letting everything sink in and mull it over and come back with the questions that need to be asked to make the decisions for our students. And I have so appreciated that from you over the past 4 years, along with our conversations and your kindness. And so that's that serious part. And the most likely to also continue to show up with the most fabulous hair and also be the one to most likely continue to take the board pictures, because you take amazing pictures. I don't know how you do it, but I look good in the pictures that you take. So, thank you for everything in the past 4 years. Ms. White, you are the one that most likely will continue to advocate for our students in literacy and the work that needs to be done with our curriculum to continue to push our students and continue to have high expectations. Thank you for doing so for so many years, and I know that you'll continue to do it for as long as you're on the board. And you are also most likely to not want an early meeting.
This is true.
But thank you for being here for the past lot longer than me, and you're outlasting me. So thank you, and thank you for your friendship and for being a colleague as well. Mr. Gomez, you are most likely to continue to speak your mind and to also most likely to continue to have the most knowledge of the intricate details that none of the rest of us could possibly whether it's a policy or someone's name that spoke to you 3 years ago or something that was on an agenda 6 months ago, you remember, which is a wonderful gift and is something that is greatly needed on this board, because while the rest of us are digging through notebooks, to try to find something we wrote down, you know where to find it right away. And that's such a huge, trying to think of the right word besides just positive thing for this board that is much needed. So thank you for your leadership. And I know that you will continue, and I also know that you will be the one that's most likely to continue to bring a McDonald's Diet Coke to every single meeting.
It's the only thing that gets me through.
So, thank you for being a part of this for the past 4 years. I know that you and I have not always seen eye to eye on things, and we're not always supposed to. A board isn't supposed to necessarily see eye to eye. It's about having different perspectives and then making decisions. And I respect that we've been able to work together and not see eye to eye on everything, because we do see eye to eye on the fact that our students are the reason that we're here to make a difference. And then Dr. Selico, I'm just going to address the two of you. I do have some other things that I'm writing in cards for everybody else, just so you know. But I'm not going to make this meeting very long, but Dr. Selico, you are most likely to continue to lead this district with heart and passion, and because of your passion for the students and knowing where we can be as a district. And thank you for everything that you have done to bring us this far. And you are most likely to get lost in the new building.
Yes.
And most likely to get lost driving there. Maybe. I don't know. You've been there enough times now. But I know that you will continue. And I know that the board, 4 board members and Mrs. Zimmerman will continue to support the work of this district in the best interest of our students. And Ms. Stokely, you are most likely to continue to tell people no, they can't spend money. And I know it's not an easy job to, especially in the position that we have been in the past couple years, making some hard decisions. And I know that you will continue to do the hard things and keep track of all of the things when it comes to finances, and continue to be open and honest, not only with us, but with our community, which is so important. Thank you for everything that you do. And you are also most likely to give the best Christmas cards ever, and the most likely to stand up and sing karaoke with me if we are in the same place with karaoke. So, thank you. And with that, that is all that I have. I know that everyone here will continue to put every student every day first. So thank you for the past 4 years. You have not seen the last of me. I will be advocating in different capacities, and I know that we will meet again on many occasions. So thank you. Including an executive session in just a moment. And with that, pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Section 121.22, Section 121.22, and Section 121.22 G5. I'm sorry, that was G1, G2, and G5. It is hereby moved that the board adjourns to executive session to consider the discipline of a public employee or official, to consider the purchase of property for public purposes, the sale of property at competitive bidding, or the sale or other disposition of unneeded, obsolete, or unfit for use property, and to consider matters required to be kept confidential by federal law or regulations or state statutes.
Second.
All right, Ms. Stokely, please call the roll.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Cook?
Aye. Entering executive session at 8:15 PM.
You guys be careful going home.
There will be no
I think it's